Hey, folks, my guest today is Ofer Ben. He's a seasoned entrepreneur with vast cybersecurity experience and was the founder and CEO of Argus, a global leader in automotive cybersecurity, which was acquired by Continental in 2017. Following that acquisition, he served as a member of the senior management at the company and as CEO of Argus, leading it to protect over 60 million vehicles globally. He served as captain in the IDF Cyber Intelligence Unit 8200 and was a team member of two Israeli Defense Prize winning projects. Ofer, are you ready to take us to the top?
Ready.
All right. Something special is happening over there in Israel. I have these founders on and they're all for exit IDF. We've got Ari at CoreLogics, Tomor at Yatpo. What's happening over there?
Well, I think it's two things, right? One is the fact that a lot of Israelis now are looking what can they do better for the world, how they can contribute a little bit more. And I think it's kind of the feeling of the ecosystem that there are opportunities that we can bring value. And the other point is obviously the background, right? So the fact that everything is always quite hectic, the background coming from 8200 is also very much helpful, where we are solving significant problems on daily basis. So yeah, the atmosphere here is quite good now.
So you're tackling security in the enterprise now with this new corporate browser that you've built specifically for distributed workforces. How on earth can you get people or teams to convince their teams to switch from Safari, Chrome, or the browser they use onto your secure browser?
I think when teams already understanding that working from everywhere, they would need to have additional security on the endpoints, especially the less managed endpoints, potentially personal devices, or if it's contractor, then in many cases they have devices from other companies. I think it's clear for people and it's well understood that they will need to have some type of protection on this unmanaged endpoint. And if you think about the alternatives, right, to install now a fully managed network filtering, or is it to install a fully managed ADR on this device? Then one of the alternatives that are having the least amount of privacy invasion is actually a browser, because then
Interesting.
in a sense your employee knows that you're only monitoring things which are corporate related, but anything else is not.
hmm And so walk me through pricing. Obviously, every SaaS company is different, but how do you price this thing?
Very, very similar to ADR. So the pricing model is pretty much identical.
Sorry, what are you pricing against? Number of browser installation, number of seats, feature-based
Yes,
upselling?
yes. So it's number of browser installations. So it's in a sense per device per month.
Okay, per device per month. And so obviously, if you're signing up an SMB with two customers, that's different than an enterprise with 500 customers or licenses signing up. What's your sweet spot? What's the average customer paying you per month or per year to use this technology?
So our target customer would be organizations which are between 5,000 employees to about 50. So this would be kind of our sweet spot, organizations which are big enough, that have enough people working from all over the world, enough contractors, enough challenging use cases, because one of the biggest advantages that we can bring is kind of a consolidation of the different devices, different use cases.
So offer 5 to 50,000 employees as your target audience, but where are you at today? What's the average team size on your platform using you guys today?
We have now organizations still pretty much all ranges, some with hundreds of thousands of employees, some with tens of employees. So in terms of the size of the customers.
But if you take all the devices on your platform divided by all the brands using you, you can back into an average. What's that sweet spot? Like is 1,000, maybe 1,000 employees a fair sweet spot?
Something like that. Yeah, I think that would
Okay.
be.
Okay. And walk me through how you're keeping your top of funnel wide. You mentioned people can get started with as little as just 10 devices or 10 employees. What are they getting? Is it free or not?
So initially, it's kind of, we believe kind of in the model of um, try to pay. So start, feel the value of the product, see that it brings you value. In a sense, I think that the best thing that any SaaS company give its customer is the conviction of bringing value rather than immediately charge you upfront. So usually we start with with a process of a few weeks of demonstration, or called proof of value, in which we can demonstrate the value to the customer, and only then when the volume start to increase, then we will convert into a paying customer.
And Alfred, before we go and get your backstory from Argus into Talon, help me understand. Well, I mean, what if someone's listening right now and wants to start on you guys? What should they expect to pay per device on average per month?
So usually it would be a single-digit dollars per device per month.
Okay, so something like $5 to $10 per month per. Now, if an employee has a cell phone, a laptop, and an iPad, is that 10, 20, $30 a month for that one employee because there's 3 devices?
In use cases like that, then usually it would be per device. So meaning, yes, 3. What usually happens is that on big organizations, then obviously they have bundles for this type of deals.
Okay. But it's generally fair to say, just so my audience understands, you're charging sort of $5 to $10 per device, not per employee, because an employee could have 3 devices. Okay. Yeah. Okay, very cool. Let's get the backstory here. So what did you get the idea for this at Argus? Did you see something there or at Continental?
So if we go back kind of to the history of Argus, in a sense, we wanted to bring to the world something that brings a lot of value, to solve a significant problem. Now, if you look at the world of connected cars, somewhere there in 2013, there were not many companies. Like General Motors, I think, was one of the only ones, of the first ones, that were really focused on bringing connectivity. And then all of the other car manufacturers kind of march forward. So we had to understand there is a huge tectonic changes, having employees or having customers interested to connect their vehicles to the outside world in order to gain a lot of insights and also abilities to have more safety. Mm-hmm. And we understood that when you are bringing such capabilities into a market that wasn't dominated with security issues before that, then there would be a big vacuum, a big issue that will come into the world. Mm-hmm. And then at the point after 3 years after the acquisition, I've started working with Ohad Bobrov, my co-founder here at Talon. Ohad used to be the founder of Lacoon Mobile Security. Have you read about Lacoon, Nathan?
I have not, but you two got together. And what year was that? When did you write the first line of code for Talon?
So that was middle of 2020.
And did you guys play nice? Did you just say, Ohad, you're an equal partner. I love you, brother. Let's split it 50-50, or did you negotiate like hell?
Ohad and I know each other from the 8200 intelligence unit days. So that was, I think, already 15 years ago. It was clear to us that we are equal partners, that we are going into this journey as brothers, play super well. It wasn't even something that I think we have discussed more than 20 seconds. So that was one of the first things that were completely clear.
That's amazing. Who did you? So tell me if you can name them. That would be amazing. Who was your first customer, and how did you land them?
At the time that we started with Argus, I think that our first customers were some of the biggest car manufacturers in the world. I think actually at the time it was one of the biggest tier 1 manufacturers. And the logic and the reason why they came into the table at the time.
Car manufacturers, you're talking Ford, these kinds of brands.
Yes. And the logic is that all of them were coming into a relatively new world, coming to new environment, and cybersecurity at the time wasn't a big thing for that area, right? Because cars weren't connected. Now you added a cellular modem, and it was kind of the early stages. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that for us at Argus was very clear is that the opportunity here to bring something to the world was unique. And by the way, that's also what Ohad and I were looking at mid-2020. So Ohad was the founder of Lacoon Mobile Security. It was the first cybersecurity for smartphone. And one of the things that both of us experienced this tectonic change. So when I had started in 2011 with Lacoon, smartphones weren't connected to organizations at all. And all organizations wanted to allow this access. And then when we started working together, June 2020, first point is that we knew that we want to work together. So that was this brotherhood that you have mentioned. And second thing was, can we bring something dramatic to the world? And I can tell you
So, Ofer,
actually, sorry.
just to move this forward, because again, we've got about 4 or 5 minutes left here. So, your first customers come from the space you came from, which is car manufacturers. Not Ford, but people maybe like Ford, or maybe Ford too, but you can't comment. But those kinds of brands, that was your first group of customers. Where are you at today? Obviously, you're only a year and a half in, but how many customers today?
So today we have about a dozen design partners, getting probably by the end of this quarter to about 20, where the goal would be to bring as much as value as possible.
So, over 12
Really big
design
volume.
partners, does that mean they're paying customers, or are you guys pre-revenue today?
Today, the company is pre-commercialization.
Okay, so pre-revenue, help me understand how you're learning right now. This is a beautiful place to be in as a founder, right? Is you're doing the
Yeah.
design things, you're saying what will work, what won't, when should we launch pricing? How are you thinking about those challenges?
I think one of the most important things is to understand which problems are we tackling for the customers and exactly what are the biggest pain points that we are solving, because each customer by definition has different issues, different challenges, and what is kind of the common denominator that most of them are having, that we're able to bring that value as soon as possible. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the most important thing. The second most important thing would be to understand and to identify exactly how is the fastest way to present this value. Because I think
Mm-hmm.
that one of the main challenges with a lot of security companies is how to present the value that you are bringing to the customer.
Mm-hmm. And how many devices are you managing across the 12 design partners right now? Like, what's your actual install rate or install base, usage rate base?
Now it's hundreds and growing to thousands.
Okay. And so when I asked you earlier about pricing per device and you said sort of 5 to 10, it sounds like that you're still experimenting. You're not quite sure where pricing is going to end up, but you're testing right now on these 12 design partners.
These are usually the feedbacks that we are getting, but not only from the design partners. So in a sense, in many sessions, then you are touching and feeling what are the expectations.
I see. Talk to me a little bit more about the funding history. And this is unique because I believe, again, you exited to Continental back in 2017. And I think it was a fairly large deal, right? What did you exit for?
So the exit there was for $430 million.
Okay. And you were one of the founders there at that company, correct?
Correct.
So I imagine that was a very meaningful exit for you personally, correct?
Yeah.
So why go raise capital? You've chosen to raise capital in this new company. Why raise capital? Why not be a little greedy and you and Ohad keep 100%, do your thing, use your own money to fund it?
I think the most important thing when you're starting a new company is to choose the partners that you want to work with along the way. And at least my view is that every new investor is actually a new partner for the journey. So understanding that with this partnership, you are getting more and more friends, advisors, supporters, networks. So choosing right, I think, is critical, and the opportunity to bring on board people like Lightspeed, Teammate, Zohar Zitzapel, George Kurtz, Mark Anderson. These are not people that any entrepreneur should choose not to have. Rather than these are people that you want to attract in any way that you can. So this is
Mm-hmm.
the main logic in every funding that, by the way, also I had in my previous rounds.
Yep. Well, I mean, listen, investors would be writing you almost blank checks. How much did you raise at Argus? Was that a good return for investors?
At Argus, we raised total of 30 million.
Okay, so that should have been a fantastic deal then for investors. Not 1,000x, but certainly 4, 5, 6, 10x, right, over a short period of time.
More,
So they're all going,
more,
Offer whatever you do next. I'll write you a blank $10 million check. Just let me in. Please let me in. And you said, Zohar, Lightspeed, Teammate, and Nadav, we want to let you guys in specifically for strategic reasons. How much did you choose to raise?
Our seed round was 26 million.
Okay. And most people in the seed round are selling sort of 10 to 20% of the business. I would argue, since you're sort of a proven commodity, you've done this before, you had a bit more leverage. Were you able to get that money and sell less than 10% of the business?
No, we sold more.
Okay. So 10 to 20 is sort of the range. Were you sort of in that range?
More than 20%.
Oh, wow. Okay. Why did you? I would say that's pretty darn dilutive for a seed round then. So these guys must be very strategic.
Again, my view here wasn't around how much do I dilute. It's how much value am I getting? And for me, it was just I want each one of them to have a good interest in the company, a good interest in our success. I want them as a partner. So it's not about how much am I giving from the company, but it's how much am I getting from these partnerships. That's the logic.
Mm-hmm. And so how do they help you grow revenue, right? If you're raising 26 million and selling more than 20% of the business, that, you know, your post money valuation, call it maybe somewhere around 100 million bucks, you got to grow into that valuation. You've done it before. So obviously everyone believes you can do it again, but how are they going to help you get your first paying customers?
First point that is the most important for anyone is the product market fit, right? So these are people that have seen a lot, have been operators, a lot of them for significant portions of their career. The second point is exposing us faster to their network of connections, which is also super important. The third point is, in a sense, supporting us, the management, in the challenges that we are having. Because, in a sense, a lot of the things, even that we have done once, not everything are completely repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
think this will be the most 3 points.
Okay, Offer, we're out of time. Let's wrap up here, though, with the famous five. Number one, what's your favorite business book?
It's a tough one. I think I'll go with the hardest thing about the hard thing.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I'm trying to get a lot from many, but number one for me would be Zohar Zisapel here in Israel.
Which company is he with?
Zohar was the founder of the Rad Group, probably one of the founding fathers of all of the Israeli high tech here.
Oh, very cool. Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building Talon?
That's easy, the browser.
Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
6.
Okay. And situation, married, single, kids?
I'm married with 2 kids, 4 years old and 2.5.
Wow, busy guy. How old are you?
I'm 35.
35. Last question, something you wish you knew when you were 20.
The importance of a team and the fact that everything is about who do you surround yourself with and how to align this team to this joint vision and mission.
Guys, TalonSec, as I mentioned, a new browser specifically to help you keep your team safe from threats online. It's the first point on line of defense. He's done it before, sold his last company for 450 million bucks, raising just 30 million. A capital efficient founder, we like to say. Now jumping into TalonSec, raised 26 million bucks from strategic partners, sold more than 20% of the business, but he loves the strategy these partners are going to bring to the table. They're pre-revenue today, but looking at getting that going here in the next 12 months. We'll see what happens. Ofer, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you very, very much, Evan.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com /Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.